Morning, everyone. Welcome to morning weight loss chat live thing. TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. Are we all good? How was your Monday? I didn't see you last night. I normally do a live on a Monday night, but we're done. We're easing out. We're easing out into Christmas. There's no social media lives in the evenings now until the new year. We're still here in the morning. Don't worry, we're still here in the morning this week, next week. Then we're done for the year. Keep thinking it's Wednesday today. I don't know why. I'm a little bit all over the shop actually with timings. I need to remember it's Tuesday because I've got to spin later on. Anyway, there we go. How was your Monday? Did you have a good start to your weight loss week? I know it is a bit of a tougher time at the moment. So if you didn't, don't beat yourself up. Ask yourself why. Can you rein it back in today? Yes, of course you can. Make your calories work for you. If you're struggling at the moment, work to a smaller calorie deficit this week, next week. Just try and stick to a calorie deficit. That's what I'm doing. That's what I did last week. It's what I'm doing this week. It's what I'm going to do next week. All right. Taking the pressure off yourself. And that's what we need to do, times like this. What we tend to do is when it's a trickier time to lose weight, instead of doing things that can take the pressure off ourselves, we tend to do things that put even more pressure on. We tend to do the opposite. We tend to right, it's a really tough time to lose weight. Let's do something that makes it even harder. Like trying to, I don't know. And it's more down to mindset. So, make your calories work for you, especially if you're on plan with me. You know how to do that. I talk about it all the time. If you don't know how to do that, message me and I'll tell you how to do that, And we are so close now. Does anyone, honestly, you just Wilma, who we dog sit for, you'll assume Wilma, the old cockapoo. Her owner Simon, he messaged me yesterday saying, "Hey mate, before Christmas, do you fancy taking the dogs for a walk in the afternoon and then nipping to a pub and having a couple of beers afterwards?" And I went, "Yes, Simon, I absolutely fancy doing that. Sounds superb, mate. Let me know days you can't do, because I'm a bit more flexible than he is. And ping some times over." And he did. And do you know what? And I went in and I'm like, this was yesterday, and I'm like, it's literally 2 weeks till Christmas. And I looked at my diary and I was like, I can't. It feels like 2 weeks ago, it felt like Christmas was 4 weeks away. Christmas was 4 weeks away. It felt like there was ages. And now I'm like, we got this week, next week, and it's Christmas week. And it's like, what the flipping heck is going on? It is just come round so quick. It really, really has. And it might feel like in some ways it's coming round quick, but it might feel like in some ways if you're struggling with your weight loss a little bit, that it's dragging a little bit, but it'll soon be here. So it's just a case of hanging on. Let's do top 5 on TikTok this morning. Faye's in at number 1, Lou's in at number 2, Callum's in at number 3, Mr. John Jackson's in at number 4, and Kelly C's in at number 5. Thank you very much for jumping on the live straight away, guys. Coming and saying hello. As always, Lisa's in, good morning. Who else in? Karen, good morning. Chichi Boy, hiya. Hello, good morning. Lita, good morning from a wet and windy wet. Oh, it's horrible here. Absolutely horrible. It is peed it down all night. Like Blossom at about 4:30 was licking my face. Like, "Hey, Dad, we're going out, Chief." And even she, I opened up the back door and she was like, might just hold it. She didn't go out in the end. But yeah, it is horrible here. Good morning, all. Good morning, Hill. Good morning, Maureen. Yeah, we've got another storm coming in, haven't we? We're always getting this time of year. Every time I get my Christmas lights up, we got like 3 or 4 storms coming in. Hoping this is going to be the last one. I think with steps today, it's just going to be. I sort of look at the weather forecast and I look for little pockets, and it is meant to improve, like in terms of like it's meant to die off a little bit. But today it's just going to be a gritty teeth day. Get your coat, get your big coat on, get out there, get them done. Kirsty, good morning. Jane, good morning. Ballsy, good morning. I managed not to get a bit too snacky yesterday. So that was a win. That is absolutely a win, Paula. And do you know what? Snacking, I think this is why we have such an unhealthy relationship with snacking. Snacking is definitely where we tend to what's the word? Excuse me. Snacking tends to be where we make or break a journey. I think that's why we have such a bad relationship with it. I always ask on my consultation form with my clients, do you snack? And the responses I get like literally, you're flipping committed murder. Yeah, I do. I know it's really bad. Or yes, it's something I need to. And don't get me wrong. I think that's because, you know, what we tend to snack on is calorie dense foods, and those calorie dense foods can then run away with us. You know, like it's so easy to whip through it. But I mean, I opened up on Sunday. Was it Sunday or Saturday? I can't remember. Rachel bought the avocado crisps from M&S, and they went quite viral online because it's only 3 ingredients. Crisps generally don't have that many ingredients anyway. But anyway, it's like potato, avocado oil, salt. You know, they are so good. And I literally opened that bag up with 523 calories per 100 grams, 150 gram bag. They were gone in 2 days. Like you might be saying, well, they'd have gone in 10 minutes nearly. I did manage to restrain myself, but I just munched my way through them in 350 gram blocks, really. And you know, that's 700 and what? Nearly 800 calories just on 150 grams worth of crisps, which is absolutely nothing. You know, 150 grams worth of Greek yogurt isn't even 100 calories, you know? So I don't get me wrong, I fit in my calories. I don't regret doing it because we're bloody delicious. But yeah, I think that's where, and we do have to be mindful of that. I started a new series yesterday. I was going to start it in the new year, and I thought, you know what? To keep me accountable up until Christmas, certainly for the next 2 Mondays, and also to start off the week with banking. I'm never that hungry on a Monday. Now, a lot of people, when I do content like this, panic. I had so many comments on it yesterday. Is that all you eat in a day? I was like, no. I work to a daily average. Some days I'll eat 1,600 calories. Another day I'll eat 4,000 calories, right? I work to a daily average of 2,600. But on a Monday, I don't really have a massive appetite. I'm normally very, very busy, which distracts me from food. I've normally had a very high calorie day Sunday, which means, you know, some of that food still sat in my system, or it's just maybe a placebo thing. I had a lot of calories yesterday. I don't need a lot of calories today. Mondays are, you know, if you watch my weekly weight loss vlog, if you went through every weekly weight loss vlog I've done, by the way, this week's will be out today. I didn't get it, have time to put it up yesterday. But if you've watched today's weekly weight loss vlog, when you watch it today, if you went through, every weekly weight loss vlog I've done, you'd notice a common trend that Mondays tend to be one of my lower calorie days. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to show a 1,600 calorie, and I'm going to sort of try and keep the series going in January. And it's going to be on a Monday. I'll either post it Monday or Tuesday, depending on when I have my last snacks. Or like yesterday, I felt like this is my dinner, this is my tea, and then my evenings, and then I just had evening snacks, didn't have afternoon snacks. So I kind of had 3 meals. Normally I don't have breakfast on a Monday, but we're doing this series. I am, but it's going to be quite a small breakfast, and I'm going to sort of mooch my eating out a bit, if that makes sense. Not spread it out, you know, like not spread it out. What's the word? I'm going to structure it time-wise and structure calorie-wise my eating. So, you know, I don't go long periods without eating. So I had breakfast yesterday at about 9:30. I then had lunch actually at about 1, but I was just mega busy. I then had tea at about 5:30, which was a bit earlier. And then I had my evening snacks at about 8 o'clock, just before the football started. And I actually filmed my evening snacks before I did. Like, these are going to be my evening snacks, just so I could get the video out there. Anyway, 1,600 calories a day. And, you know, I think I ended up finishing, I actually had, which I'd already posted the video, a Werther's Original in bed, right, which is 22 calories. So I think I actually ended up on about 1,600 dead, or maybe just under 1,600. 128, 130 grams of protein, I think I was on, and not loads of fiber, 15 grams of fiber. But again, we worked to an average. So I did get a comment yesterday, oh, that's not a lot of fiber for a day. It's about averages. Today I might have 40 grams of fiber. And that's, you know, if you're following my content, if you're not following my content, follow my content, because then you'll understand. You know, anyone that's a regular follower of mine won't have commented, is that all you eat in a day? Because you'll know that's not what I eat, all I eat in a day, right? But yeah, so series every Monday, Tuesday, So I banked like 1,000 calories yesterday. So like literally, that's in the bank now. That's like, and that's laying a foundation. Don't get me wrong. If I was hungrier yesterday, would I have eaten? Probably not. And I'm going to be honest with you because I'm filming this content, and I'm not going to stand there and go, "Here's 1,600 calorie day of eating," right? When secretly behind the camera I had 3,000 calories. I didn't. You'll see next week on my weekly weight loss vlog. Right? Oh yeah, Neil did actually eat 1,600 calories that day, right? Yeah, new series incoming, and it's kind of one of them. I did a live a few weeks ago or a couple of months ago called "Make Hay While the Sun Shines," and you can look at that in so many different ways. We can look at that January, February, March. It's generally quite a month for a lot of people. It's a bit boring. People are a bit skin, and me and mates, we don't do anything really. We sort of really rein it in, and then we can make really good weight loss progress, because when life is boring, it does make weight loss easier. But make hay while the sun shines. If there are certain days of the week where your appetite is a bit lower, mine tends to be on a Monday, right? Just is. And again, it could just be a placebo thing. It's just the habits that I've got used to. Then why not bank 1,000 calories for the week on a Monday? And it takes the pressure off for the rest of the week. Because this week, although we've got nothing on at the weekend, like Friday night, we're out at a friend's house. We're going to have a takeaway. I don't know what takeaway we're having, but, I probably, if I'm going to have a takeaway with some friends on Friday night, I'm probably not going to bank any calories Friday. Well, technically, if I want to bank 500 calories a day, which is, if I do that going into the weekend, I'm happy. I'm happy with that. I've banked Mondays and Fridays calories yesterday. 5,000 calories. So I'm going to do 500 today, 500. Do you know what I mean? It's ahead of the game. Anyway, new series. If it's Insta, I will put the picture on of what I'm eating. And what I'm going to do is, this is how I'm structuring it, the 1,600 calorie days, right? This is the structure. 300 calories for breakfast, 500 lunch, 500 tea, 300 calories snacks, right? Nothing is set in stone. Nothing is set in stone. So if I have a 250 calorie breakfast, I can have a 550 calorie tea. If I have 150 calories worth of snacks, I can have a 550 calorie lunch, a 600 calorie tea, 300 calorie breakfast. Do you know what I mean? It's nothing set in stone. But that when you're working to a structure, it's just a guide. If you have a little bit less on one meal, you can have a bit more on the other meal. If I had 300 calories for my breakfast, 500 calories for my lunch, and 500 calories for my tea, pretty bang on, I would have 300 calories worth of snacks in the evening. So yeah. So that's how I'm going to structure it. And basically, I am going to structure it again with meals. Breakfast, lunch, tea, snack, one snack, whether that's afternoon or evening, right? It's going to be breakfast, lunch, tea, one snack. When I say one snack, one like either afternoon snack or snacks or evening snacks 4 times I'm eating a day, right? And that snack yesterday was a Muller Lite and a bag of crisps, right? It could have been a Whey Whip bowl. It could have been a protein bar. It could have been a number of things. It didn't need to be what we can mix it up. Anyway, going forward, that's what I'm going to sort of post Monday, Tuesdays. And I'll do that in the new year. And I think really, and don't get me wrong, I'm not telling people to eat 1,600 calories a day, right? If you are, but and again, always get these. I eat 1,200 calories a day. I do 20,000 steps a day, and I don't lose weight. Click on the profile picture. The person in the profile picture is probably 8 stone wet through. Like, you can't lose what you've not got, right? Likewise, I get people that are like, I eat 1,200 calories. I had a lady that I've not replied to her because you can open up a can of worms, and I don't really want to. But she was like, I eat 1,200 calories 6 days a week, and then have a treat day on a Saturday, and I don't lose any weight doing that. And you could quite clearly see, I'm not saying she was mega overweight at all. She's not like she had a massive weight issue. I think she had lost quite a bit of weight already, but she's got weight to lose if she wanted to. I'm like, what's this treat day? You're eating 1,200 calories a day, 6 days a week, 7,200. Right? I don't know what a movement is. What you eating on a Saturday, 10,000 calories. I'm literally like, you're not eating 1,200 calories a day the rest of the week. You might have convinced yourself you are with this trick, but you're not. And it's amazing all these comments that you get. And then other people will comment. Other people will come in and go, well, you're not eating this. Well, I am. And again, when people get overly defensive means you've triggered someone. And if you've triggered someone, it means you've touched a nerve, right? So if you're literally like, now you're not eating it, and you get an essay. I've done it with clients before, right? I'll literally go, look, I'll work with clients. They've been with me 3-4 months. They're not making any progress on the scales. Each check-in, I'm chipping away at the mindset, chipping away at finding out what the issues are, before I actually call them out. And I do call clients out. And, I had a client this year. She came on board. She's actually left now, which I expected. In fact, I'm surprised she lasted as long as she did. She came on board, and in her consultation form, I get to £189 and I can't get any less than that. She literally had this number fixated in her head, and she never did on plan. And it's just she's self-sabotaging all the time. It's my job as a coach to then dig in. Now, I thought I saw a breakthrough. I thought I saw a crack because she messaged me and said, this was about a month ago, I'm not checking in this week because I've just had a really poor 2 weeks. And I'm like, you've had a really poor 10 weeks, 12 weeks, but now you're starting to admit it. We can only fix a problem when we recognize we've got one. Whereas previously she thought, I track everything goes in my app, I do this, I do that, I do the other. I literally just can't get below £189, which is just a fallacy, But I'm like, right, now we're convincing now we're willing to open up and go, I'm not being great. I'm not doing what I should be doing. Right. Once we get a bit of honesty and a bit of a self sort of reflection, reality check, that's when that can generally be with most clients a turning point. With this one, it wasn't, unfortunately. It wasn't from not checking in. She did check in because I said to her, we have checked in. I said, you might not have sent a weight or anything over, but just messaging me is checking in. It's accountability. So let's, if you didn't have a good 2 weeks, why? Have a look back, reflect on it. What went wrong? Let's put some of those things right over the next 2 weeks. And I think actually she did check in after that 2 weeks and lost some weight, right? And I was like, is this the moment? Is this the moment? And then inconsistency happened and she's cancelled the plan, which kind of a lot of people tend to, not a lot, but, I think it was one of them. I think I'm not going to go into it, but some people just get to a certain weight and they, like I say, they just convince themselves and they're not willing to put to work to know. They know what they have to do. They're just not willing to do it. And that's fair enough. That's fair. I'd rather a client leave if that's going to be the case because, it does make it. And then she might come back in 6 months and go, I know I wasn't that thingy, blah, blah, blah. I've had that a good few times as well. Lee, I assume that's the same person. You've done a YouTube and a Facebook message. Anyway, morning, Neil. Exercise meals have started to happen, so actually enjoying planning everything around them days on NutriCheck. Yeah, absolutely. And this is what, this is why I say about things being quite reactive. So we've obviously, I've said I've got nothing on this week, next week. Next week now, this is my week next week, right? And for a lot of people, it will be super overwhelming. Right, so next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, nothing. Dan that I train with messaged me yesterday saying, do you fancy going out with me and Milraf for a meal? Because of the kids, it's actually going to be a Thursday. It'd actually be next Thursday if you're free. And I'm like, yes, mate, well up for that. Thursday's actually a good night for us. So next week, and this is where, I've got clients. So next week, I'm out for a meal next Thursday night. Is it going to be a boozy one? No, because I'm working Friday. And although I'd love it to be, I generally would, because who we're going out with, they're a good laugh, they're good people, good friends of ours. Rachel has got work the next day. But I did say to Rachel, I said, look, if you want, we can Uber it in and out. It's not going to be cheap, but it's Christmas. Let's, it might be, I think it's about 20 20, 25 quid each. So I was like, but you know, it's a one-off. If we've not been out with them for donkeys. If you want to have a couple of drinks, let's Uber it in and out. And she was like, and we ummed and and then we said, no, we're going to drive. We're just going to go out for a bit of tea. So, but it's still going to be quite calorific, right? And I had in my head next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I was going to be on it because we're out. And then Saturday we're out. We're out for tea with some friends. And we're going to some little Christmas markets that are in Blackpool. And then we're going out for tea afterwards. Again, it's going to be more calorific than what I would do normally. And then Sunday, I'm out on a bit of a day sesh with some mates. So next week is just, I've got 3 pretty high calorie days. It would be so easy to just go, is what it is. I'm not going to, right? I've set myself a target of being in a calorie deficit for these full weeks up until Christmas. And I'm not going to fail now. So how am I going to end? How am I going to make sure I'm in a calorie deficit next week? Well, the only limits that might be pushed is I did say that I only class a calorie deficit as 1,000 calories under my maintenance, right? So my maintenance is about 23,000, 24,000 a week, right? So anything that's 23,000 I burn 3,500 calories a day. Which is 24,500. So anything that's 23,500 or less, I class myself as being in a calorie deficit. That theory might get pushed a little bit. It might be a case of if I'm 200 under, I'm in a calorie deficit. But what I'm actually going to do next week, and I've not done this all year. I used to do this quite a lot, and I stopped doing it because I didn't mind seeing red and green numbers. They don't bother me whatsoever. But next week, I'm actually gonna put my maintenance calories into my app. Well, my maintenance calories minus 1,000. All right. So if you divide 1,000 by 7, so I burn 3,500 calories a day. Take 1,000 divided by 7. That's 104. So 150. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to put 3,350 calories into my app. All right. That is what I'm going to do. And I just want that to be, by the end of the week, I want it to be green. That is my target, for it to be green. Now, Monday, I'm going to do my 1,600 calorie day. So that is technically, if I'm at 3,350 on Monday and I do 1,600, I'm banking 2,000 calories there, right? I'm then going to try, what have I pressed there? I've pressed the thing. No, I don't know what I've done. I'm on Facebook, YouTube, and I've pressed the button and I don't know what I've done. And I've just gone. Can I remove that? There we go. I don't know what I've done. Sorry. Anyway, so I'm going to do 1,600. This is my plan next week. I'm going to do 1,600 Monday, right? 2,000 Tuesday, 2,000 Wednesday. That is my target next week. Now, with my new allowance, that'll have me banking oodles of calories. And then what I'm going to do is on Thursday, so we're going out for a meal. I'm going to kind of rein it in on Thursday. So I'm not filming any worth of calories next week or anything like that. So there's no reason why. I'm going to kind of rein it in on Thursday. And even though we're going out for tea, I'm just going to probably choose some better options. I'm just going to try and pick some better options. There are out there. I don't need to pick 2,000 calorie meals from a restaurant. I'm going to try and pick something a little bit better that I'll still enjoy. I'm not going to go and pick something for some flipping tofu harissa salad or something. I have flipping no idea what I'm talking about. I'm just going to have a look and go, I might have that. That'll certainly be, a little bit of a better calorie option. Friday's Friday. So again, I'm probably just going to try and bank. I might do 2,500 on Friday. So really, I'm going to try and do 2,532. So I'm still banking all the way along. And then going into the weekend, I will have oodles of calories for the weekend. It's going to be, and we'll just see where it gets to. Normally where I struggle with the weekend, and this is where I'm going to get a little bit lucky with next week, it's the hangover day. So the other week I went out and I had a good few beers and I was a bit hungover on the Sunday. It wasn't code red, but I was a bit hungover on the Sunday. I ended up having nearly 6,000 calories. Now I'm going out on the Sunday with my mates for a few beers. The hangover day's in a new week. We take the wins. We take the wins. It's not in next week. The hangover day is in Christmas week. And in Christmas week, I don't give a toss about calories. I generally don't. I'm going to track on my hangover days. I'm going to track Monday, Tuesday that week. But I really generally don't care what I eat. Tuesday night, I'm signing off. And I've got Wednesday, Thursday, and then we just signed off for Christmas. You know? Anyway, there we go. Smash yesterday, I had to go out quite late to get my steps in. Brilliant, Callum. Right, let me scan down. I know I've been waffling quite a bit. Let's see where we're at. Regan's in. Good morning. Have you tried the mini Italian meatballs from Aldi? So nice with cheesy garlic bread. I don't know. I've done a lot of meatballs from Aldi. The ones I normally get is the 5% fat ones. I'll have a look. I don't know if I've tried any that would call mini. Those self-sabotage thoughts is why I pay yearly, so I can't cancel when I'm having a weight loss drop. And it does. I get it. And if you're anything like me, once I pay for something, I'm flipping using it. So, yeah. I still get frustrated with my daughter, Neil, but I keep trying. Do you know what, Michelle? Someone signed up a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, is that Michelle's daughter? I couldn't remember what her name was. Like, no offense, because it was a while ago when we worked together. And I thought, is it or isn't it? Because I do get clients that come back. And yeah, how is she doing? I know she struggles. I know she's got some struggles. And I know, you brought her on plan and again, she still struggled. And we can only help people that want to help themselves. That is a big saying, and you can't force people to want to help themselves. I've said this quite a lot. When I started my weight loss journey in 2014, it generally was the only it was the first time I'd ever tried to lose weight where I actually genuinely wanted to do it. I genuinely was 30, what was I in 2014 when I started my journey? I was 33 years of age. I've been what I would class as morbidly obese from probably being 10 years of age. So I'd spent like 23, 24 years of my life morbidly obese. I've tried to lose weight numerous times. And don't get me wrong, I did go on diets off my own back. But looking back, did I really want it? Was I doing it for the right reasons? Was I doing it because someone had just triggered me in the pub? Was it because someone had looked at me the wrong way? I'm not saying you can't use that as motivation, but generally I didn't really want it. When I started my weight loss journey in 2014, I genuinely, it was the first time I was like, I want this. I absolutely want it. And what I wanted to achieve with weight loss became more important than food. And I think that's how I conquered my addiction. I'm not going to say that at certain points weight loss became an obsession. It did, right? And what I was doing became an obsession. And again, I'll always say this: if you get obsessed with something, you physically can't have a healthy relationship with it. And even if that's, some people might say there's healthy obsessions. I genuinely don't think there is. There's nothing wrong with being committed and being, and some people might say to me, I'm obsessed with the gym because I go 6 days a week. I'm not going to, it's something I love to do. I used to be obsessed with the gym. How do I know I'm not obsessed with the gym now? Because if I have 4 or 5 days off of not going to the gym, I don't have any guilt over it. I know how hard I work at the gym and I know the effort I've put in. So I know that whereas 5, 6, 7 years ago, if I had a few days off from the gym, I'd feel guilty. I feel bad about not going. And I don't now, right? I genuinely don't. So don't get me wrong, as long as I'm not going for the right reason. So like Christmas, do I train over Christmas? Yeah. I had not an interesting one. He was just being a bit of a prat. A guy on Facebook yesterday. He was literally standard PT, very black and white in thinking, very narcissistic in views because he turned everything round on me. Oh, you're assuming that my thinking's black and white. You've literally told me it is. You've literally told me that, he basically said, why don't you track? Why did you take a week off tracking? And I sort of explained it that, there's things we do in everyday life that we need a break from. You know, it's why we have annual leave from work. Oh, it's interesting that you choose your diet and lifestyle choice and you compare it with work. I'm comparing it with things I do on a day-to-day basis, like making the bed. That's how you have a successful weight loss journey. It becomes part of your everyday life, right? And it should be part of your everyday life. The habits, tracking your calories, you know, just like I've got up this morning, I've put some washing on, I've made the bed, right? I've set my breakfast out, I've tracked some of my eating today, right? It's just daily habits that I build in. But you need things that you do on a day-to-day basis, day in, day out. You need to be able to take a break from without any guilt, without any. And the way he was writing it, and he was just making it out, it was my issue. And I was like, I'm not telling people not to, you know, I say this to you guys, I say this to my clients. Look, you know, if you want to rein it in between Christmas and New Year, I can't stop you. You know, if you want to track in between Christmas and New Year, I have said to my clients, don't tell me you're doing that. I don't want to know. I generally don't, because I just, you know, again, it's a bit of an obsession thing. And I'll work, and if I find out that you've done it, we'll work on that in the new year. You know, Callum, you won't mind me saying, Callum that's on the live now, he's one of my clients, and we worked together last year. We started last October time, September, October time, 2024. And Callum last year actually lost weight over Christmas, and he was quite, you know, he was new into his journey, and I get it, you know, I get it, and he was quite restrained. And he was quite restrained over Christmas. And he actually lost weight over Christmas. And this year, and we're still working together now, and he's done amazing this year. He's like 5 stone down, absolutely smashing his journey. He's like a new man, right? But this year, he's accepted that, yeah, he was probably a little bit restrictive last year, and he's going to have a much more easier Christmas. If Callum had tracked last year and lost weight over Christmas, and it felt fat, you know, it felt natural, it's what I want to do for the rest of my life, right? And he'd done it again this year, fine. I've got no issues with that. But, you know, he come back and said, yeah, I probably was a little bit overly restrictive. And probably only a little bit, nothing major. He says there's fine margins at times, but he's going to give himself a bit more food freedom. Now, this year, he might go wild, right? I don't know. He might go from one extreme to another, which is what we're trying not to do, right? And this is what this PT guy was commenting on my thing. He was claiming, you know, that anyway, you know, and you know, you're not going to see eye to eye with people all the time, but he was really like, he wouldn't see, you know, anything. It was just his way or the highway. And don't get me wrong, some people might be like, well, that's your philosophy, isn't it? It isn't, I suppose. We're all a bit like, we're right and everyone else is right at times. You know, I'm not gonna say I'm not like that, but you know, like I say, I do give. He was just so rigid. He was like, of course, take Christmas Day off, but why the rest? And I'm like, oh, you know, and I'm just like, because, you know, because you need to be able to have, whether you choose to do it or not. And like I say to my clients, you know, I don't instruct my clients just take Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day off. I say take a weight loss break. If that weight loss break wants to run from the 19th to the 27th, 28th, fine. If that weight loss break wants to run from the 23rd to the 5th of Jan, fine. If that weight loss break wants to run from Christmas Eve to New Year's Day, and it's just that, fine, right? That is absolutely fine. That's the flexibility I give my clients, you know? And it's just, you know, and to be honest with you, the way this PT was talking on my Facebook yesterday, it's just so generic, right? And I said that I knew I was going to trigger him. It's dead easy to trigger people. I know how to pull the strings, you know, like milking a cow, right? And I did that. I was like, and I was like, to be honest with you, your generic thought process. Oh, I went in. I've seen from many a PT over the years of my experience working in this industry, from being a one-to-one personal trainer to being online to this, that, and the other. And it's very, very common. And I think that's why a lot of PTs that have a very generic thought process find it very hard to grasp my more freeing thought process. That was it. I went in on him. Then he started getting very defensive, as I knew he would. And then I just finished off with, anyway, thanks for dropping by. If you want to learn more about weight loss breaks and why they're very important, please check out episode such and such of my podcast. That was it. Anyway, it's very easy to get under people's skin. I'm quite good at that. Going Spud Bros tomorrow. What would you say the calories be for just cheese and beans, tram sauce? Jamie, great question. So I tracked. What did I track Spud Bros Spud at? Let me tell you. I'll tell you now. So I tracked it because I've done it on my Worth the Calories on tour. I'm not doing another Worth the Calories on tour this year. I don't think. Though there is someone put a chippy on in Blackpool that's doing, I don't know if you've seen it, it went viral. I don't know which chippy it went viral with or which part of the country, like festive chips. So this chippy got like a portion of chips, chippy chips, right? And then they put turkey, some chopped up turkey, pigs in blankets, stuffing, and then chip shop gravy over the top. And someone posted that there's somewhere in Blackpool doing it. So I might go and have a mooch. To that one. Right, Spud Bros, here we go. Let's see where we're at. I've only put it in the video. I've not put it on the flip. I think I tracked it about 1,400 calories. I think I tracked it about 1,400 calories from memory. So if you're going to take the tuna mayo off, you're probably going to be at 1,200 calories. Like, I didn't think the portion was as big as, like, I've watched, so I don't know if you've seen Spud Bros. They're at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. They've just been at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. And I was watching the main guy. I know there's two brothers, but there's one brother really. The main guy that does all the content and has obviously led the business and this, that, and the other. He was serving up a jacket potato, and he was like 1.5 potatoes, which is what you get. And he was like, the cheese was flowing. They're not like that at the tram. Like the guy that did mine, don't get me wrong, I've got 2 spoonfuls of cheese, but it's measured. It's very much like he fills it up and then he little shake and then puts it on, and then fills it up, little shake, and then puts it on. Because someone said, how are you tracking when it's not measured? I said, it is measured. I said, I might not know the exact weights, but they're measuring because you need to with any business. So people are like, oh, they just whack this on. No, they don't, right? You know, whether it's 2 spoonfuls of cheese and 2 ladles of beans, that's a measurement. They will know exactly what a ladle of beans weighs. Like a tin of beans, how many spuds that will do them, because that's stock control. You need that for P&L. So, but anyway, I would say your tuna is probably a couple hundred calories. So you're probably talking 1,200 calories because you still get cheese is calorific. Like I think I guesstimated it about 80 grams of cheese. Right? And 80 grams of cheese is 350 calories. Now you've got a spud and a half, and then they're pretty decent sized spuds. So you probably get another 350. That's 700 calories. You're certainly getting 2/3 of a tin of beans beans are cheap. They certainly whack the beans up. The beans are a decent size. So that's probably 300 calories. So we're at 900 there. Your tram sauce is a full fat mayonnaise. Now, generally, what you'll find with flavored mayos is they tend to be a lot, if you get like Peronaise, like a full fat mayonnaise is 100 calories per tablespoon. Like a Peronaise from Nando's is like 50, right? So obviously the flavors of sauces, and they just reduce a flavored mayonnaise tends to be like a light mayonnaise, but I don't know that with that tram sauce. I reckon that they're going to get that. They're going to have that in supermarkets, right? They need to keep going on this bandwagon, and they need to get people hooked in because it'll die a death in terms of like people will move on to the next thing. But once people, if you get that, it's like ketchup, right? Heinz very rarely advertise because it's just a staple. So if you can get something like mayonnaise, you can get that tram sauce to be as popular as like, and Nando's mayo is a staple in my thing. I just always buy a Peronaise. I absolutely love the stuff, right? So anyway, that'd be the right. I've still tracked it as a full fat mayonnaise, right? I have. So maybe I've been a bit over with it. Maybe it isn't, but I'd rather be safer than sorry. And I reckon there's a good 2 to 3 tablespoons of tram sauce and the crispy onions. You get 2 spoonfuls of crispy onions. So yeah, I'd say you're probably at about 1,200 calories, right? And it is I don't think it's as big a portion as what you see on social media, but it is a big portion. Like it's filling, and it's really good, really, really good. A lot of people are what is it? A lot of people are it's just a spud. Trust me. There is a difference between the way they cook jacket and way they're cooked in them and they cook King Edward ovens. Right, a proper jacket. I do a jacket spud. I ping it in the microwave 15, 20 minutes. I ping it in the air fryer 10, 15 minutes. That's it. It does me, but no one's paying £7 for that. Trust me. No one's paying £7 for that. Right? Right, when you get a proper oven-baked jacket spud in them great big, like a pressure red hot oven, they cook a spud in an hour. The top tier with a right good crispy skin, dead fluffy on the inside, and they'll use like specific proper good jacket type of potatoes for them. I think they bought their own farm. They bought their own farm in Preston to grow their own spuds. Clever business guy. Really, really clever. Morning, struggling to get back into it today after my weekend away. Struggling to get back into it today. It's only 9:20. Caroline, what's going on? What's happened this morning? I'm struggling to get back into it today. I've had 32 croissants. But we live and learn. Tomorrow will be a better day. What's going on at 9:20? Or is it just thought process? Is it just you sat there now thinking, I need to rein it in? What are the struggles this morning? It's like you've already beaten. It's like you're trying to lose before we've even started, because it is just 9:20 in the morning. I'm not saying there aren't people this time of year that haven't gone head first. They're not, like apple bobbing, but in tubs of celebrations. I'm not saying that's not happening nowadays, right? I'm generally not. But what's going on for you to say you're struggling so early on in the morning? I'll be a lifelong tracker. I will. But with the mindset that if I don't want to track for a week, I don't need to. If I don't want to track on holiday, I don't need to. But out of that, I will be a lifelong tracker, because it's just a control. Just like I'll be a lifelong person that makes me bed. I'll be a lifelong person that makes me own tea. Right? Whatever money I've got in the bank, I'll always do certain things. And the thing for me is, you do need certain management tools in place when you are prone to weight gain. You do, And I always say this about tracking calories. You don't need to. I don't really need to now. I genuinely don't. And I sort of see. I sort of the analogy I use with tracking calories. I use it like a satellite navigation. I use it like a satellite navigation system. And basically, when you need direction and guidance, you can turn it on. When you don't need direction and guidance, you can turn it off. But do you know what? I still put my sat nav on even when I know where I'm going. Why? Because just in case, nowadays it tells you where the traffic is. It's got live updates. It redirects you, and it's, so like on Sunday, we were going to a christening over where Rachel's from in Manchester. I know exactly how to drive that. I still put the sat nav on because it was just there, just in case. It's peeing it down. It's a Sunday. There's more traffic on the roads, and there's one way to get there the fastest, but there are 3 or 4 different routes I could take to get to. It was in Rachel always tells me off. Is it Atherton or Atherton? I don't know if I pronounce it right. Anyway, that's where the christening was. So I could go from where we live, M55, M6, M61, come off at Junction 5 and wind my way in. If it's manic that way, I could go M6, M55, M6, and go down to like the East Lancs, like Orrell Way, Lee, and cut across the East Lancs and go in that way. Right, if needs be, I could actually have gone M5, M6, M55, M6, M61, and come off at Horwich, and then wind my way back in that way. I could actually come off at Chorley and go right around. Do you know what I mean? Or, the M55 might have been blocked, so I can nip through Preston, through the docks, and come off at Walton Le Dale. Right, so there's lots of different ways I could go. A sat nav will always take you the fastest way, so I just put my sat nav on. I didn't need it. And in the end, the way I'd normally go was clear, and I just went that way. But I put it on just in case. And that's kind of like tracking calories. Now, whether you want to put it on, now, do I put my sat nav on to go to the gym that's 10 minutes down? No. Right? But if I'm doing a bit of a journey, say if I'm going on a motorway, I'll stick it on just to make sure, because I don't want to get stuck in traffic. I don't, I've got to be there at a certain time and this, that, and the other. So it's just like a precautionary measure at times. And that's kind of what tracking calories is. It's just that little bit of control that's needed. And at the end of the day, it takes 2 minutes. It literally takes 2 minutes. Like, to, if you know what you're eating, and we should, look, life is reactive, and sometimes you'll plan your tea and it won't quite happen. Every now and then, how reactive is life? Come on. I do my weekly weight loss vlogs every week. It's just I do the same thing. Majority of the year, I do the same thing week in, week out. Lives at set times. They might fluctuate half an hour here or there, but live set times, set days, gym set times, set days, spin, Tuesday 5:15, Saturday 9:15, check-ins on Friday. I call it Groundhog Day, Groundhog Week. It just is the same, and that's it. And once we know how to track calories, and we've done it for a little bit, it literally, I've done several videos. You scan through my TikTok, right? I don't think I've ever posted reels. I once did a video, and it was like and I set a stopwatch up, and I said, right, let's track my calories for the day. And I think it took me, and that was with me, so I wasn't using any pre-saved meals. I wasn't using any of the pre-saved features in the, when you eat yogurt. So if I go on to breakfast now, 0% fat Greek yogurt will pop up, right? Because I have it all the time. It has like a memory function in there where whatever you last, I'll do it now. If I go into my NutriCheck on my iPad. So if I go to, let's go to tomorrow, that's relatively clear, and I click on breakfast. Oh, look at that. When I click on breakfast, look what comes up. Cereal granola, peanut butter, yogurt, frozen fruits, right? Because it knows these are all like the things I've had recently for my breakfast. What else is there? 0% fat Greek yogurt, 0% fat protein yogurt, blueberries, Biscoff spread, strawberries, frozen dark cherries, granola. It's just because that's what I have, and that's it to track. Oh, look, Greek yogurt. Guess what? I've not even tracked my breakfast. Guess what I'm having? I'm actually having, which Greek yogurt I'm having that one this morning. Oh, look at that. Oh, 150 in. Done. Right. What else am I having? Protein powder. Oh, look at that. Protein powder's in there. How much am I having? 30 grams. Oh, there we go. In. Right. Guess what else I'm having this morning? This is it, because I'm saving a few calories because my lunch is quite calorific. Frozen strawberries. Oh, look at that. Frozen strawberries just there. And I've got 100 grams. There we go. And in. There you go. I've tracked my breakfast. 249 calories, 39.3 grams of protein, 4 grams of fiber, 30 seconds. And that's doing it to you, talking to you. Imagine if I was just doing it on my own where I've not got any distractions. That's it. Right? Tracking calories is simple. It is super quick. It's just down to consistency of whether you want to do it or not. That's it. That's it. And it's whether you want to do it or not. And people, sometimes they don't like to face what they're eating. Some people don't like control. They were a rebellious, they're like, your mum and dad hated, didn't like black hair, so I'll dye my hair black. Mum and dad hated things, I'll dye my fingernails black. Put my, you see a lot of like emos and goths and this, that, and the other that are just like, they do it as a rebellious thing. Not dressed like that at 30 when the mum and dad didn't give it to you. You've moved out now. I don't give a toss. Now they're a lawyer or a doctor or something like that. And you look back at old pictures like, those were my rebellious days. Those were my rebellious days. But I didn't want to do what society wanted me to do. I don't like society, right? I'm not going to conform to what I should be doing. That would just be stupid and ridiculous. Even though I know it's what I should be doing, it's and loads of people are like that. In a way, everyone's like that. There's always something. When I was 37 stone, right, there was so many foods that I enjoyed eating, but I refused to eat them because they were good for us, right? I used to push back. Jacket potatoes, we've just talked about it. I was like, I ate a jacket. I love a jacket potato. I love hot and cold. I love salad. Lasagna, hot lasagna with a cold salad. I absolutely love it. I don't know. There's just something about like when I have a pudding, right? Cold custard all the way. If you have hot custard, you're an absolute heathen, right? Have cold custard, hot pudding, right? I'm only joking. If you like hot custard, it's all right with me. Cool people come at me in the comments. Mr. Don's morning, boss. Morning, Peter. I hope you're good, mate. Nice seeing you. You've not been on for a bit. You know, so it's so and you know what? To conform to the norm, yeah, we've always got to have a little kickback. We've always got to have a little kickback. We'll always like certain clothes that other people don't like, and we'll always like certain foods that other people. That's fine, right? That's fine. Have we ever thought being rebellious is actually conforming to the norm, and actually not being rebellious is actually being rebellious because you're not? Have a think about it. Have a think about it. That was kind of my I sort of switched it around in my head, and I'm like, me pushing back all the time, I'm just falling into a group, and I'm trying to be out of a group, but actually I'm in a group, right? So what's the difference between being in that group and being in that group? I'm still conforming to a normality. It's just majority minority. But if I conform a bit more to the majority, right, with weight loss and eating healthier and actually moving and going to the gym, I might not actually be 37 stone, and I might actually start smiling a bit more, and I might actually start living a life that I want to live. You know, so it is hard. I get it, but I've been there. I used to kick back against things all the time, right? And if you just sort of look at it in a bigger picture, sort of thing, you go, why? Where's it getting you? You're just unhappy all the time. You're just really overweight all the time. So let's just ease off a little bit. And it is hard. It is hard to free our mindsets. I get it. I really do get it. You know. I still track and everyone thinks I'm mad, but keeps me accountable. Brilliant, Danny. And it's why people think it's mad because they can't do it. That's it. This is the thing about me going to, you know, I still get so many comments now from friends, you know, like if I go to the gym on holiday, it's like, oh, you're so sad. You're just in the gym all the time. I'm like, it's only sad because you don't do it. And generally, people that will say it's sad are the people that actually really want to be. Because I've done it again. I used to take the rip out. I've said this before. I used to go Friday night, and I'd be in there from flipping 2 in the afternoon. I'd be 10 pints deep, and then you know, a group of young lads would come in, and they'd come in, and they're all sort of hench, and they're all blooming, you know, they're got the protein bar ready to go to bed, or they've just had the protein shake, and they'll come in and have 1 pint. Generally, they'll have Guinness because it's full of iron. It really isn't. But anyway, we'll have a pint of Guinness after the gym, and they go, "Oh, yeah, gym boys, protein boys, oh, gym." It's funny. I now, some of them lads I used to take the piss out of, I've PT'd them. Right. In fact, one of the lads now, I train. I don't PT him. He trains with me now, like if he's free. And I used to take the rip out of him. But that was just me because I'm sat there jealous. I'm like, would I rather have, you know, had a group of friends that would go and do something good, go to the gym, train, have this little sort of niche, as it were, you know, come in the pub, have 1 pint, still see people, still say hello, maybe push it to have 2, go home, wake up the next day, fresh as a daisy. That's what I wanted. That's what I do now, and it's great. I fully like get why they did that. I fully get whereas I used to wake up with beer fear, hanging out my bum, and the only way I could cure that was to go back to the pub and carry on drinking. You know? Right. Let's I just need to plan and put nice things in my food plan. Caroline, that is absolutely, you bang on there. You need to look forward to what you're eating. And like I say, I did that 1,600 calorie day eating yesterday. And I'm not saying that's going to put, everything was delicious. Like I'm going to do, so my recipe, I wasn't going to do any more recipes this year, but I am going to do one tomorrow. I'm going to do a KFC not boneless banquet, Philip Burger box meal, right? So, yeah, basically a Philip Burger box meal. So I did like a fake away Philip Burger. Is it any different to what I've? Not really. I use Southern Fried Chicken seasoning. I used breadcrumbs. So the other week I used cornflakes. Yeah, I used actually breadcrumbs to make like the katsu curry. Yesterday I used breadcrumbs with Southern Fried Chicken seasoning. And then I got the like the chicken sizzler. So basically, it's like a chicken breast that's sliced like that. And I used that to make the burger. Just lettuce, like mayonnaise on a brioche bun. So my tea last night was 603 calories. I'm also going to make a mini fillet, so a mini fillet breast. Like, because if you get a box meal out from KFC, you can either choose 2 hot wings, a piece of chicken, or a mini fillet on the side. So I'm going to do a fillet burger, mini fillet on the side, fries. So the mini fillet will be 90 calories. So it'll be 690, right? And then gravy, I've got the Mayflower Southern Fried Chicken style gravy. So I'm going to make gravy with that. So it's going to be about 750 calories. Now, don't get me wrong, a KFC fillet burger box meal is 1,000 calories. You're not saving a ridiculous amount of calories, but it's going to be a lot less saturated fat. It's going to be a lot more fiber, and it's going to be a lot more protein, right? And it's still 250 calories less, right? It'll be really, really filling. So I'm actually going to go into KFC today, and I'm going to ask them for a box and a gravy pot. I'll say, hey, can I just get an empty box and a gravy pot? I am tempted just to buy a box meal just to give out. No, I'm going to say, can I get a box? I'm doing a bit of content for social media. Is there any chance I can get a box and a gravy pot just empty? Because I thought that'd be like, I'm not going to tell them that I'm using it to make for content for a fake away, and then I might have to put a sticker over it where it says KFC. I might call it RLB. No, I'll have to call it something like you got Kentucky Fried Chicken. I'll have to call it like Blackpool Fried Chicken or Boss Fried BFC, Boss Fried Chicken, BAFC, Boss Air Fried Chicken. There we go. We've got it. Patented. Don't nick it. Falls off the tongue. Really doesn't. BAFC. Sounds like a football club. Probably is a football club. What was that? Or just BAC. Is air fried one word or is it 2 words? BAC. Not KFC, BAC. Boss Air Fried Chicken. Boom. Is that a business? Can we set it up? Healthier, like a chicken shop, but it's air fried and it's not deep fried. Would that work? Where are we going with this? I'm retiring from weight loss coaching. NFC already exists. What is it? Oh, yes, contactless payments. Did I say it was that Neil Fried Chicken? Yeah, we can't have that. BAC, it sounds very similar to somewhere that makes fighter planes, but it's not. I mean, BAC already exists as an acronym, wasn't it? But anyway, there we go. There we go. But NAC isn't a thing, is it? So Neil's air fried chicken. You know, I think we're on something here. We're not, are we? Just track my breakfast. I did use to track everything, and it did help. Come on, Paul, you can do it. Right, guys, I've got to go. Why have you got to go? Rebellious is my middle name. Pete loves it. Weighing everything is so damn meticulous. It really isn't. You're doing it wrong, right? So if you're finding anything a chore, right? So when you say weighing everything, you're either weighing things that don't need to be weighed, like your spices and your little bit of herbs, seasonings, smidge of lettuce. You know, I made that chicken burger yesterday, right? And it's you know, you weigh your chicken, you don't need to weigh your bread. So we're going to pack it, right? Mayonnaise, tablespoon, you know, and some chips. I probably weigh 3 things, 4 things. It takes less than a minute, right? But if you want to lose weight, yeah, there's little things that we're going to have to do that, you know, yeah, you could whack it all on a plate. That's why we have a weight issue, you know. So we've got to, it's like driving a car is so, yeah, but you got to do it to get from A to B. You know, going to work is so meticulous. Yeah, but you got to do it to pay your bills, right? Sorry, there's certain things in life that we do have to do. But if you're generally finding it like an absolute chore to weigh things, you're doing it wrong. Because you're weighing like 2 or 3 things at a time. Like my breakfast this morning, it's yogurt, protein powder, and strawberries. I've got to weigh 3 things. It's like bang, 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 done. Like, you know, you don't need to be Gordon Ramsay. Keep your eating a bit simpler so you don't have to weigh as many things, you know. Right, guys, I've got to go. It's been a pleasure as always. If you're on Planner in the community, I'll be back in half an hour. And in today's Weight Loss Coaching Live, we are doing reflect back and then look forward. So we're going to talk about looking back, how your 2025 has been. Maybe even I'm going to go a bit further back to 2024. We're going to have a little analyze, and then how we can use that as a positive thing to drive us forward. Excuse me, for the future. Right? There we go. That is today's Weight Loss Coaching Live. So if you're on Planning in the Community, if you're not on Planning in the Community, come join up. I know it's before Christmas, but if you sign up to Plan now, it's half price, 15 quid. Right? You'll get to come into the community for a couple of weeks. I'll get your plan written up and sent over next week. Right? And we'll have you started on the 5th of Jan. I'm not even pushing plans at the moment, and I should be really a little bit, because normally I've fully booked myself out in December for January, but I'm being a little bit lazy, so maybe I need to start pushing plans a little bit. So if you want to come on Plan, it is off price at the moment to sign up. You'll get instant access to the community. You'll pay nothing till January. And I'll have your plan written up, sat in your email, ready to 5th of Jan, back from Christmas, bam, straight in, you're ready to go. So come get signed up. TikTok profile, Facebook page, YouTube page. Click on my first link. It's an inquiry form. Just click on that, send it over. Hi, Neil. There's no obligation. You're not signing up to anything. I'll just email, and I'll just send you an email. I'll send you an email with all the details of my plan, and I'll send you a quick WhatsApp. Say, hiya, I've dropped you an email. Have a look. That's it. If you never message me again, you'll never hear from me ever again. All right? That's it. So come get involved. Ready for the new year. It's 3 weeks away. We have to think about that. 3 weeks on Thursday is New Year's Day. It's 2026. Bang, let's go. I'm not wishing time away. Guys, I'll see you in about half an hour. Facebook, TikTok, sign off to you first. And then Facebook, YouTube, again, if you're on Planning Community, I'll see you in about half an hour. If you're not, come get signed up and you can come on the Weight Loss Coaching Live today. See you later.